Okay, I'm writing this because I want to know a couple things. First off, I have Cowden's disease. I was clinically diagnosed in 2012, blood diagnosed in 2016. But why is it that doctors are allowed to try to manipulate you into agreeing to take out your organs just because you have Cowden's? It doesn't seem morally or ethically right for them to do that. Now, don't get me wrong. If something actually was verifiable, provable that there was something actually wrong for, say, let's say my uterus, and they had paperwork to prove it, not just a X-ray or tech person stating that they see something, they actually have proof of it. That I would agree to take let them take it out, but never have they been able to prove to me that there was something actually wrong with a part that screams cancer. Now I know Cowden's disease is rare. I know it causes people like me to be at high risk of cancer than it would somebody else. But that does not mean that I have they have a right to treat me like I'm retarded, treat me like I'm incapable, or treat me like I'm a number. I am a person. I have a name. I have rights. If I want to keep my female parts, I have a right. It's just that simple. And the reason why I'm doing this, between from when I got diagnosed clinically to when I got diagnosed by blood, 2016 I was diagnosed with DCIS breast cancer, with one lymph node infected. They proved to me that it was actually a problem. So I let them take the lymph node, but I told them that the breast stayed. They agreed. They did not they did not argue with me. They agreed. They took the lymph node, but good God, man, that shit was painful. But I agreed with the doctors and I let them play their part in the whole situation. But my thing is, when I come into a doctor that I've never seen before, especially a cancer doctor, I always make sure, do you know what Cowden's disease is? Do you know how rare it is? This is my medical history, and I mean medical history. I always bring my medical history to make sure they understand me, and they understand how I think, and they make sure that they understand my beliefs and my understanding of what I want in my medical care. But 9 times out of 10, I will run into a doctor that will tell me the last time they heard anything about Cowden's disease is when they were in college. But I still try to school them. But sometimes it's a dead end street. And most of you out there, you'll understand what I'm talking about. But I went through the breast cancer treatment. I went through the radiation. All was good. I understand I have to be watched for polyps and whatever else. And I had those things removed. Normally, when they tell me I have a polyp or a fibroid or something, I tell them remove the fibroid so it doesn't have a chance to cause me a problem, or remove the polyp so it doesn't have a chance to cause me a problem. Most of the time, I do run into some good doctors that will not give me a hassle. But just on some occasions, there is some doctors that are dumb, idiotic, stupid assholes that will challenge me on it. For instance, in end of 21, they claimed that they found a fibroid. But after I went to the hospital because I was bleeding so bad I can barely stand up. And this was in the godforsaken state of Alabama. I went to the hospital at 9 o'clock at night, was made to sit in the waiting room, bleeding everywhere for almost 3 hours, was not given anything to help with the pain, asked for a puke bag, wasn't allowed to have that, asked for a pad, wasn't allowed to have that. I had to beg and cry to some lady in the restroom for help. She would happen to be from a different hospital, and they told her no too. I went back to the room. They sat me on the bed, put an IV in my arm, didn't give me anything for pain, allowed me to lay it in my own blood for at least 2 or 3 more hours before they attempted to do anything. By the time I left that hospital, I barely got any treatment. They did do x-rays and ultrasounds to find out that I had a fibroid, but that was it. I was allowed to leave the hospital by 4:30, 5 o'clock in the morning, unescorted, still bleeding, still feeling like absolute crap. About a week and a half later, I finally got the courage to go to another hospital, figuring that this hospital, being a godly Christian Catholic hospital, would help me do something about the situation. Only difference is I wasn't made to sit in the waiting room bleeding everywhere. They didn't help me otherwise, other than giving me something to slow down the blood, which put me at risk of getting breast cancer again. But they didn't care otherwise. And by this time, apparently, the fibroid went from 6.5 to 7 centimeters to almost 9 centimeters, and still nothing. And this is October 16th of 21. So remember these dates: October 6th of 21, October 16th of 21. Whole month and a half bypasses, almost 2 months bypasses. December 20th of 21. They do a biopsy on me. They tell me that it all came back clear. There was no cancer. And I told them, take out the fibroid. That doctor literally told me, and this was at the Mobile Women's and Children's Hospital. He literally told me if he was taking out the fibroid, he was taking out my uterus, and there was nothing I could say or do about it. That wasn't going to happen. Apparently, while I was in the hospital room getting the biopsy, they brought in a cancer doctor, without my knowledge or consent, who claimed that that the issue wasn't cancerous, but it was atypical of concern. So she instructed him to send me to her office when I recovered from the biopsy. January, I go to her office. First thing out of her mouth is they needed to do a hysterectomy. I said, well, this is a fibroid. This is not cancer. So why the hell do you need to do a hysterectomy? She said it because I have Cowdens disease. It is recommended that I have a hysterectomy. I said it can be recommended all flipping day long. But if you can't tell me what is the risk of you taking out my uterus right now, when there's nothing wrong with my uterus right now, you're not taking out my uterus. Apparently, Mitchell Cancer Center's located in Mobile, Alabama. She went and talked to her committee about it. Her committee told her that if it's not cancerous, we cannot take her uterus out. But she then proceeded to put me on cancer medication, claiming that it will shrink the fibroid. From January to May now, 5 months, they gave me 14 blood transfusions. 14, mind you, because of the fact I was so anemic from the neglect that they said I had to do it. Because the swelling from the fibroid swelled up and caused all my organs to be affected. And all this time, from January till May, I was fighting tooth and nail. Take out the fucking fibroid. Take it out. Take it out. Take it out. I had to go through iron infusions, blood transfusions, you name it. I had to go through it just to save my life because of what they did. Finally, I met one of the colleagues that the cancer broad worked with. But before I get to that point, up to this point, I was being told that I was going to bleed to death. I was going to wake up in a pool of my own blood. You name it, she was stating it. And nobody was listening to me. I was having all kinds of reactions to all the medications. I meet this colleague who told me that I should have already had the fibroid removed. That they could have gone in, did some radiation treatment to the fibroid without affecting my uterus, and they could have taken out the fibroid. 5 of 22, they finally take out the fibroid. And I was not too happy about the experience that I had. They take out the fibroid, and not even a week later, she comes back and tells me that they need to take me back in because I have cancer. I'm like, all right, show me the results, show me the paperwork that says I have cancer. And it better be for somebody else other than you, because I don't trust the ground you fucking walk on. Well, you got to trust me. I've been doing this a long time. Nope, I don't have to trust you. You've lied to me from day one. So here again, tell me the truth. Tell me what the holy fuck is going on with actual proof on paperwork. Or you ain't touching my motherfucking uterus. But if you think there's something wrong and you take my uterus out, and if there's nothing wrong after you take my uterus out, I'll have your badge, your house, your everything. I promise you on that one. And then she left alone. Imagine my surprise a month later when I get a card in the mail telling me that I have a issue called FYA antibody issue with my blood. Didn't know what the hell that was. No one explained that to me. So I looked it up. Apparently, somewhere in the 14 blood transfusions, now mind you, I've always been an O positive blood type. But somewhere in the blood transfusions, they gave me bad blood. So now, say if I was to get into an accident and have to have something done, like say if I cut my arm off, they cannot give me blood unless they treat that blood first, count the red and white blood cells, and treat it like it was cancer blood before I can receive it. So, and all these doctors keep telling me, "Oh, trust us. We got your best interest at heart." The fuck you don't. The fuck you don't. So believe me when I tell you, Cowden's disease, yes, it sucks, but it's not a death wish. It's not a death warrant. As long as you monitor it, you go to the necessary people, you check the necessary things, but at the same time, make sure that if a doctor comes to you after you do this, oh, because you have Cowdens, we need to take this out. Because you have Cowdens, we need to take your liver out. Just don't take one person's word for it. Get triple, quadruple, whatever you need to do opinions before you take let them take your parts out. It's common sense, people. It's common sense. But just before I sign off on here, because I got a crap load of homework to do. The reason why I'm doing this, because I know a young lady. She was 20, 21 at the time. She was diagnosed with Cowdens. I told her not to automatically trust what the doctors were telling her. She didn't listen to me. She trusted the doctors, did the whole 9 yards thing. They took everything, all her uterus, her fallopian tubes, but left her ovaries in there. Now, why the hell would you take all the other parts but not take the ovaries? This girl went from 120, 130 pounds soaking wet to almost 300 pounds. All because she got diagnosed with Cowdens. Nothing else wrong with her. Zero wrong with her other than Cowdens. And now she can't have kids, but she's stuck having periods. And she doesn't have all her parts. It doesn't make any sense. And then just tidbit information. Cowdens, if you get cancer from Cowdens, say in your uterus, they take the uterus, that cancer is going to go somewhere else if it really wants to take you. It's a common fact. If you watch your health, monitor the Cowdens, and trust your instincts and advocate, and I can't say this enough, advocate for yourself, you'll have a chance to live and be a mom or a dad. See who you ever have to see. Do what you have to do. Advocate. But don't let them rule your life just because you have Cowdens. And especially don't let them ruin your life because you have Cowdens. And if your kid or kids is diagnosed with Cowdens, give them a chance. If they're like me and they don't have anything cognitively wrong with them other than a speech impairment and a large head, make sure that you get them properly diagnosed. Don't treat them like there's something else just because they have an issue. Don't treat them like just because they have a disability, they're worth a check and only a check. Believe me, I know how that is. There's more to come in this story of my life, but this is just part of the Cowdens portion of it. But keep the faith, people. Have faith in God. That will get you through anything. And if you have to go through radiation or something like that, do what I did. I closed my eyes and pretended I was on an island with nothing but sexy hunky men to get me through the treatment. Keep positive. Advocate. Take care of yourself. Don't resort to stupidness. Don't resort to drugs. And always protect you and yours and your children. Signing off for now, but remember, advocate.